The Golden Globes nominations came out today, and although I'm not a fan of the Golden Globes themselves or any awards show, I am a fan of all the speculation and all the politicking beforehand and afterwards. So, as I was reading through the Golden Globe nominations, or the articles that spoke about the Golden Globe nominations, I kept hearing about these nomination snubs for shows like HBO's The Watchmen and Game of Thrones. And so I started thinking to myself, an obvious question here: who's watching The Watchmen? I don't really see any buzz online or anything about the show itself. I mean, nothing to the level of something like The Mandalorian. And everyone that I seem to hear from about the show who's taken the time to watch a few episodes have talked about how little from the actual Watchmen comic book series they really took. I don't even believe that the creator of The Watchmen even likes the show. And while the movie was something that people could be divided on, there was a huge amount of the actual comic book series brought in. So I started wondering to myself, who's watching this show? The comic book lovers are obviously not watching this show because it has nothing to do with the comic books. And yet, the show is online and, is on air, and it's snubbed from the Golden Globes? Why? Well, let's look right here. Golden Globes nominations snub HBO's Watchmen and Game of Thrones for Succession and Big Little Lies. HBO popular dramas Game of Thrones and Watchmen and the comedy Veep received little love. Now, I can understand maybe Veep because it was on for a while, and Game of Thrones because it was also a much beloved show at one point. Sometimes what happens is if they don't give them enough actual nominations or awards during their run, they'll sort of, post-mortem give them one, or give them at least a few nominations. And apparently Game of Thrones and Veep haven't received any. And Watchmen, I don't understand. It's a new show, and I don't know who's talking about this show. Is it really a water cooler show? Is it something that's exciting people enough that it would even... I don't know. So, let's see. Let's skip through this here. Even more surprising was the snubbing of Watchmen, the hit reinvention of the iconic graphic novel about a band of costumed crime fighters. See, I think that was the big problem as to why the comic book lovers weren't really buying this one, and why you don't see a huge buzz for this show online. That's the one thing that people discount. The lovers of the original material or the source material are really the ones that will drive it going forward, and they will keep it afloat during the peaks and valleys. During the valleys, the peaks, you don't need to be kept afloat, but during the valleys of a show or of a property, that core audience that loved it from the very beginning, or loved that source material so much that it became a TV show or a film, that core audience is super important. And I don't know which Watchmen, if that core audience is really there and is driving that buzz for this show. But apparently I'm fucking wrong. I'll show you in a minute. The drama, which will conclude its first season Sunday, was left out of the best drama category, while star Regina King, who in the past few years has scored multiple honors, including a Golden Globe, 2 Emmys, and an Oscar, was also overlooked. So the show in general was not appreciated, which is amazing because when you look at the subject material of Watchmen. This is like the liberal, like they love this stuff. And it's supposedly taking a beloved property and reinventing it and injecting it with agenda. Which is something that, I mean, you would figure they would be all on this. And yet they're completely snubbing it. Now, here's where I was wrong. HBO's Watchmen has the ratings and word of mouth buzz to solidify its hit status. This is from December 4th, and this is from Collider. According to a new report from Variety, HBO has drawn an average of 7.1 million viewers across all linear channels and streaming platforms. Now, let's look at a comparison really fast. 7.1 million viewers. This other one, Watchmen, Additionally, HBO's ratings indicate Watchmen is the cable channel's most popular new series of 2019 and its most watched new series since Big Little Lies. Considering this was a year when some of the HBO's biggest shows, Game of Thrones and Veep, were coming to an end, and plenty of newbies like Euphoria and Historic Materials were coming in to fill in the gaps, this is a major win for the Lindelof series. So apparently I'm completely freaking wrong here, okay? Apparently people love this show. It's the most amazing, ridiculously awesome show ever, and it's drawing huge numbers, and I don't understand why. So, looking at it on an episode-by-episode basis, Variety focuses on episode 7, in Almost Religious Awe, which aired on Sunday, December 1st. The episode drew 779,000 viewers in the Nielsen Live Plus same-day ratings. The episode's numbers were the highest of any episode since the premiere, which drew 779,000 viewers, and that number grew to 1.2 million across all HBO platforms on Sunday. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't understand this. So on the Live Plus same-day ratings, this is according to Nielsen, it got 779,000 viewers. Right? Now, compare this to Game of Thrones. I looked it up earlier. In its first season, Game of Thrones was averaging about 2.5 million, somewhere around there, viewers per episode. And the final episode of the first season got it cracked over 3 million viewers. Game of Thrones is one of those very rare shows where it continued to build momentum as time went on in that season. And what you don't normally see is there is a sort of a pop in the first show of the season, especially or the premiere. And then it starts to go down a little bit, and then it might spike back up again at the end. Well, Game of Thrones kind of did a little bit different, where it was like at a 2.3 or 2.2 in the first 1 million viewers, and then it slowly went up, and then it went down a little, and then it went up and up, and then it went down, and it hit that 3 million mark for the final episode of the first season. So to call this like some sort of huge hit, I don't understand, and I don't understand what they're saying by an average of 7.1 million viewers across all linear channels and streaming platforms. Is this per episode? Because here's the thing. If it's drawing about 779,000 viewers, right, for episode 7, and then it says 1.2 million across all HBO platforms on Sunday, is it trying to combine all of these and say, oh, well, it's got 7.1 million viewers? Are these individual viewers? Or what it is? I want to say that I'm wrong, but at the same time, I don't believe that I am now when I'm reading this, because it doesn't seem like they are playing true with the numbers here. It doesn't make any sense at all. I don't see the buzz for Watchmen like other TV shows or other streaming shows right now, like The Mandalorian. everyone's talking about The Mandalorian. Every episode is talked about. You have everybody's talking about Baby Yoda, and it's every episode is being, sort of dissected and analyzed over and over again. And yet Watchmen comes in and out, and I have no idea what's going on. I don't see people talking about it. I don't hear anybody thinking about it. I don't think the show did right by its core audience, and its core audience, the comic book lovers, were the ones that were going to really drive this show. Much like the book lovers of Game of Thrones loved that show from the very beginning. It's true to the ideas and the core of what A Song of Ice and Fire was. And that it kept it afloat as it grew and became the powerhouse that it did. This is not going to happen for Watchmen because there is no core audience that's watching Watchmen. And I know in the episode that just came out, they introduced Dr. Manhattan into the whole thing. But I don't think anyone's interested. I really don't see it. I don't see the buzz. I don't think I'm wrong. I think this is bullshit. Well, guys, listen up. What do you think about Watchmen? Are you guys watching that stupid show? I mean, I don't know if it's stupid. I haven't watched it. Let me just take that back. What do you guys think about Watchmen? And is it another case of agenda-driving story? And if it is, why doesn't Hollywood love it? Why is it that it's not getting any? Because they love that sort of stuff. So why isn't it? Why is it not getting any love? I would love to know that. Leave your comments in the comments section below. And if you like the content on this channel, please share and subscribe this content. And don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you guys later.